there are so many thoughts running rampant through my mind right now. I'm a little bit fearful of the unexpected. I really don't know what to expect, and I think that's natural. Salsa, bachata.
Oh,
yeah.
You got it,
yes.
man. Why do you invite me?
One thing I learned, the more you travel, the more it opens up your mind. Yeah, the more you travel, the more you see things. I'm living proof. Take it from me. You will enjoy it. You know what? When it's all said and done, it's going to be a good vacation. Hopefully this won't be my last trip going to Cartagena. Yeah. Those who believe in good old-fashioned family values, love, and who's looking for marriage, who's looking to incorporate a helpmate, a life mate.
Welcome, guys, to another Monday night episode of a Foreign Affair Live International Matchmaking, our Monday night webinar where we talk about all things international dating, on all things related to that. Look at that, guys. You remember what a group looked like, and then a group of beautiful women like that? Isn't that something that's almost nostalgic now after we've been all isolated for the past month or so? And you look at this video and you're like, oh, I missed that. It just seems like so far away when we would do these wonderful socials. I was just in the Ukraine in February, and we had, oh my gosh, well over 400 women in attendance at the social in Kyiv, and then in Odessa, another 350 women, and it was just like that, and it was wonderful with all the opportunity and all these beautiful women running around and the accents and everything, and I can still see it all, smell it all. I really, really missed that, and we're gonna hopefully be doing that again very, very soon. I'm hoping in July. We'll be able to do the next tour in the Ukraine, and even before that, possibly in June in China. I don't know. We're going to see. I'm in contact with our offices, and right now it's still up in the air, but I'm hoping, especially I'm hoping for everything. China in June may be a bit ambitious still. We're going to see as we get into May where we're at on that, and then of course, as we get into late May, we'll have a better idea of how July is going to be shaping up for the Ukraine. I can tell you this, these women are dying to get out there and start meeting you again. They are really, really anxious to do that. I talk to our staff constantly, and they're talking to the women constantly because there's still correspondence and things like that going on. But they want to meet in person. We used to do so many introductions worldwide every day, in-person introductions, and all that came to a grinding halt because of COVID-19, right? But that's not going to last forever. This too shall pass, right? And so just please keep a good thought and know that as soon as we're able, we'll start the whole process again with the group tours, the individual introductions, all of that. Right? And we'll get everyone moving again, whether it's Latin America, Asia, Eastern Europe, wherever it is, we're going to start going again here as soon as we can. All right. Another thing I want to talk about too, and another thing I miss is the seminars. We were doing these seminars every month. We would do, at least 2 seminars somewhere in the country or even in the world. And again, with COVID-19, it took that to a grinding halt. So we have not been able to do the seminars so much recently, but we have been doing them virtually still. And you know what, guys? That's been working out really well. It's not the same, and it's not as good as being in person. I love being in front of you guys in person, whether it's in Detroit or in Tampa or in San Francisco or, Denver, Washington, wherever it is. I loved coming to your cities and being able to be right in front of you so we can talk, we can chat, we can really learn about what this is really all about. And we had clients. So right now on your screen you can see Dave. He's a great guy, and he actually went to New York and went to the seminar there. He'd been with us before, and he just came to share his experiences. It's about the community. We build such a cool community with this. And he's been on the last couple of webcasts that we've done too. The last couple of virtual seminars, and he's helped too. That's why I like doing these things in person, because you just never know who's going to show up. And a lot of times we'll get previous tour clients that want to come and share their experiences with the rest of the group who's contemplating or considering doing this, and that's why they're there. So we will be doing, we have the seminars scheduled for this weekend, actually, one in Denver coming up on the 18th of April, and then we had the following week, we were going to be in San Francisco, one of my favorite places to go to. I love Denver too, and San Francisco is so cool, and we were going to be there on April 25th, and neither one of those are possible now because the government still does not allow us to have meetings of more than 10 people, and we always get more than 10 people at our seminars, so that's a problem. So we can't do them in person. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be contacting anyone regardless of where you live, who RSVP'd to attend either the Denver seminar or the San Francisco seminar, and let you know that we're going to be doing a live virtual seminar. It's going to be live, and you're going to be participating still, because we're going to have a way for you to call in, and you're going to be participating like you would normally do if we were there in person. And we'll be doing it this Saturday, okay? So this Saturday, the 17th, we will be doing the live video virtual seminar. And you're still eligible for the seminar-only discounts, guys, if you attend that seminar. So that's really cool, too, because there's a lot of savings that you get for coming to the seminar. I always joke that, if I had to go and listen to myself, drone on for 3 or 4 hours or more, I should be financially compensated for that, because it's not easy to have to listen to me. And it's not just me. There's going to be other people talking. You're going to be talking. There's going to be interaction going back and forth. And you normally have clients that have been with us before that will log in on that. So I highly, highly recommend that if you have any interest in getting yourself over there, once this stinking virus is behind us, to call in and log in for that conference on Saturday, that seminar on Saturday. And you'll learn all about how this really works. And you'll be eligible for those seminar-only discounts if you do decide to do something on Saturday with us. It's not difficult to do, guys. And it's going to be the Saturday, this 17th. In order to be able to get the email to figure out where to go and what to do, you do need to RSVP. And even if you don't live in Denver and you don't live in San Francisco, you're actually still eligible for that, because when we do the in-person seminars, we do have guys that fly in or drive from other states to attend the seminar because they really want to learn about it and take advantage of the savings. So we still allow that. Even virtually, we'll allow that too. We're not making a big deal of this on the website. This isn't like something that, anybody can just come to this. It's really not like that on the website. We really do want to try to keep it community-based in the Denver area, in the San Francisco area. We're going to put those two together on Saturday, but that's okay. So if you are already registered for either one of those seminars, you will be getting an email soon, probably today or tomorrow, letting you know how to log in on Saturday morning so that you can be a part of the virtual experience of the seminars, okay? I'm sorry, guys. I really wish that we could do all these things in person. I really wish that we could be there, like you see in this video, with the wonderful possibilities of the socials and then the one-on-one introductions and everything that happens during these amazing group tours that we've been doing for the last 25 years. But unfortunately, we just can't do that right now. And I've been getting a lot of calls from you guys asking, well, John, when do you think, is the June tour to China going to go off? Is the one to Costa Rica going to go in June? And what about the July tours or maybe the September tours? And I wish I had a crystal ball, just like all the government officials and everyone else, and could tell you exactly how this is going to play out and exactly when we're going to be able to travel again and take advantage of this. And it's not really just up to the United States. It's also up to the other countries that we're going to and what their policies are going to be for letting foreigners in, because we are foreigners when we go to these countries, right? And so they're going to have their own rules and regulations, I'm sure. And maybe some of that might even include some kind of a self-quarantine for a little while. And if that's the case, that's going to make things much more difficult too. So we're just not sure exactly what's going to happen yet. But as soon as this all kind of starts to sort out as we move forward, which it looks like they're trying to, they want people to get back together again as soon as possible, but they also want people to be safe. So as soon as we start getting more information, then we'll be able to pass that on to you and let you know. The only thing I can tell you is that if you're paying towards a tour and we can't do that tour, we will refund that money or we'll move it to another tour, whatever your choice is. And we did that with the April tours and the May tours, and we took care of every single client, and we'll do that with you. So your deposits are safe with us. That's not an issue, right? We've been around for 25 years. We're not going anywhere. We're right here, and we're going to be here. We'll ride this storm just like we've ridden wars that have happened in the places we've gone to over the years and all kinds of different things. And we've always been able to navigate through that, and we'll navigate through this. Not an issue. But I just want you to know that if you do decide to do something with us anytime, especially during the seminars that we're going to be doing this weekend, that it'll be safe. So don't worry, you'll be fine. All right. Now, you guys can participate as well. We have lots of questions that are coming up, and I look forward to answering all those questions. So I'm going to get started a little bit on that. We have a little bit of a surprise for you today, too, a little bit of a treat. We have some video from some of our offices around the world talking about what's going on in their part of the world as it relates to this whole virus lockdown type thing, right? And so they kind of had some fun with it. They went out and they did a little bit of videotaping and stuff like that. And they were being safe. It was all very safely done. But we'll have a little bit of that video to share with you. I think we have some from Latin America, and we have some from Asia, and we actually have some from Russia as well. Anna, who normally does the show here, she's in Russia right now. And she's in quarantine over there, but she was able to get some video too. But we're not going to have that video, unfortunately, tonight, but it will be on the site tomorrow, and we'll show it next week as well when we do the show on Monday. And another bit of good news I have for you guys is that we will be doing Rana's show, the Philippine show, on Wednesday. All right, so this Wednesday, Rana will be back with a live show, and she'll be talking all things Filipino. So looking forward to that too, because it's been a good month and a half, I think, since she's been able to do her show. So that's going to be up on Wednesday. So really looking forward to that. Okay. And I know, Dan, you were asking that question, and hopefully now that answers that question. All right. I'm going to get to a few of your questions here, and then we're going to keep going forward. I'm interested in going to a Cartagena tour in July because that's my birthday month, and I would like to spend my birthday with that special girl. I'll keep my fingers crossed. I hope so, Glenn. I hope you can make that happen. Let's see here. Tim. So, Tim, you have a question here, and I think you should probably call me for part of this question because we do an amazing job, I think, of trying to make sure that all the profiles on our site are verified and not a problem. But if you have any issues and you can give me some more information, please call me tomorrow. It's really easy to get a hold of me, or you can even email me, john@loveme.com. It's very simple. And send me an email, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. And you're saying that things might not return to normal till 2021. Well, that's possible. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you when things will return to normal. I'm hoping in the next few months, but you don't know. But call me, and I'll be happy to talk to you privately about any of the things that you have concerns about. All right. Voxholics, I don't know. I'm just mutilating that name, I'm sure. But he says, hope everyone from the AFA office is doing well and keeping safe. You know, everybody is doing well. Everyone is fine here, and as far as keeping safe, we're really doing our best to do that as well. I'm the only one in this office up here right now doing this webcast. Kirk and all of our staff that do an amazing job with the support are doing it remotely, and they're doing a great job, and it's still coming off. So yeah, we're doing our best to keep our distance until we can get this whole thing figured out. Blue says, hello, I'm really hating this virus thing. Yeah, I know. It's really thrown us off what we're really trying to do here. And I wasn't kidding at the beginning when I talked about how, you know, we do a ton of introductions every day around the world, right? So in addition to our tours, we also have many men that are in country and getting assistance from our offices and doing the one-on-one introductions with the women that are profiled on the site, right? And that's an amazing thing. And the offices, no matter whether it was in China or in the Ukraine or Latin America, wherever it is, they would help these guys to meet all these different women, and that really just stopped, and that's a shame. And what's really cool about it, too, is that the staff there, they know the women much, much better than we do here in Phoenix. So when you're there and you're interacting with the staff, they're matchmakers. And they'll get an idea of who you are, and within their sphere of influence, within the women that they are familiar with in the geographic location that you're at least, they can help you in meeting women that they think might be a good fit for you as well. And that's a really cool thing that I think a lot of people overlook with a foreign affair. Because like I was saying a couple weeks ago, we are very large, but in the same sense, we're very small because we have all these small offices all around the world, and those offices are only concerned with their geographic region, the women that they're dealing with, so that when you come there, yes, you're dealing with a foreign affair, but you're dealing with that local office. And when you're in that specific region, they're going to be able to assist you and make recommendations for you with the women that they feel might be a best fit for you. And that's great. I mean, where do you get that here? You know, even if you're going to try and join some domestic dating sites here, where are you going to find that kind of service and that kind of support, right? These people do an amazing job. And yes, we have to pay for it. It does cost money. You can't do a service like this and not charge. That's just, you know, how it is. I see some guys are talking about how it would be great if we could just charge a lot less, and that would be great. But then you wouldn't have the same service that we have, because I don't know if you ever run a business like this, but there are a lot of costs associated with it to provide the kind of quality service that we do. Although I still think it's one of the best values out there today, especially the tours. There's not a better value that I know of when it comes to the romance tours or the singles introduction tours. Those are an amazing value. When you talk, well, we're not going to get into this right now, but on the weekend, if you're going to join us, we'll be talking about everything that's included in the group tours, and that's a 4-hour conversation. But we're going to go through it, and for the price, which is compared to basically a regular tour to a destination like China or like the Ukraine or Latin America, it's an amazing value. All right, let's keep going here. You guys are great because you're asking a ton of questions. I think what I'm going to do is you guys keep asking the questions. I'm going to get to you, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the first clip that is coming from one of our offices. I'm not sure exactly which one this is going to be, since I'm here all by myself, but it will be the first one. I think one of 3 that we're going to do. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first clip. And this is coming from one of our offices, and they're talking a little bit about how COVID-19 is affecting them in their region.
Hi guys, this is Sarah from AFA in Peru. In this opportunity, I'm gonna share with you this short video just to show how the city looks like due to this problem that we are facing all over the world, which is the COVID-19. And you will see that we here also in Peru, we have empty streets, no people walking around, just only the ones who are maybe working at the hospitals or or pharmacies or a store where we can buy some kind of food, because our president declared an emergency war nationwide since March 16 until now. So what we are doing is just the ones who have the opportunity to work at home, we are working at home and just trying to be safe also with our families. So we are here, and the government also say that, for example, a few days a week, the men are able to go out of their houses just only if necessary to buy food or maybe medicine or maybe going to the bank. And other days, women are allowed to go out just for food, medicine, and bank. And on Sunday, nobody is able to go out just in case we have an emergency. So this is how Lima in Peru looks like. You see few image about my city. So this is the way we are facing this pandemic situation. So hopefully everything will be fine or good for everybody in a few more weeks. So wish you the best, guys. Be safe at home and take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Manuela. I work for APA office here in the city of Medellin, Colombia. Before all this quarantine started, I want to tell you that we had a client, and we was trying to set it up a couple dates for him. Was a little bit complicated because most of the girls was a little bit scary about all this situation, but in the end we was able to set it up her date with a beautiful girl, and I think so that they was really happy with the final result. I hope that you are taking care of yourself and your family, because I hope to see you soon here in Medellin, Colombia. Medellin is a beautiful city, and you will see that. Bye.
Hi everybody, my name is Maria Böttcher. I'm the regional manager here in Latin America. And I also wanted to show you a little bit how is everything in times of the coronavirus. I'm going now to our office to see how everything is and how the streets looks. So I'm walking already 10 minutes. I have seen 3 people so far. I want to do grocery shopping now. It's my day today. What does that mean? Yeah, my day today means that here in Colombia we have now a restriction that depending on the number of your ID, you are allowed to go out on a certain day in the week. And I'm just allowed to do grocery shopping, go to the pharmacy and go to the bank. That's it. When we leave the building, the apartment and go out of the street, we have to wear a mask. So I'm getting my mask ready. I'm good to go and I'm going to show you a little bit how the city looks and yeah, how is everything here in times of coronavirus. So I know everything is a little bit different right now, everything looks different, the world is a little bit different right now. Guys, I hope when you watch this video you had a great Easter weekend, you're all safe, we think about you, we keep on working here, we keep on matchmaking, and we hope to see you very, very soon in Cartagena, in Medellin and in Barranquilla in Colombia.
That, guys, is amazing. I mean, this whole thing, it just really kind of hits you how this has affected the whole world. I mean, it is just, well, it's a pandemic. I guess that's why they call it a pandemic, John. But it is pretty amazing when you see what's going on worldwide. We're going to have another little clip to show you, I think, in the Philippines here in just a little bit. I'll get to some more of your questions before we get to that. Yeah, just I'm really hoping that in a couple months here, we're going to be able to travel around a little bit more here, but we'll have to see. You know, you just don't know. You know, first and foremost, we want to be safe, so that's the most important thing. All right. Voxholic says, watching these videos makes me miss traveling, period. Yeah. I get it, because one of the big, I think, fringe benefits of doing one of these group tours or even just going over with us is the travel part of it, is going to Lima, Peru, where you just saw Sarah talking about it, or going to Colombia, where you just saw Maria and her staff talking about it, and you can see Maria here, and just experiencing the culture, meeting the different people, not just who a foreign affairs introducing you to, but just people in general that you're going to meet at the hotel, at the store, at the taxi cab drivers. I've been talking about this for 25 years, how cool it is when you go on one of these things, because it forces you to get outside of your comfort zone. A lot of our clients have never been outside the United States, and the only thing that finally motivated them to go was something like this, where they had a chance to meet all these wonderful, beautiful women. And I get that, and that is the main purpose of going over. And we do a fantastic job of filling that need. But while we're doing that, you're getting so much more, such a rich experience. The food, the smells, the sights, all these different things that are just something that most Americans will never experience. I mean, going to Russia or Ukraine or China or a lot of these places, and then seeing it through the eyes of a local, seeing it through the eyes of a woman that you're on a date with, and she's taking you to one of her favorite restaurants or one of her favorite places to be from a local perspective. So when you talk about missing traveling, yeah, me too. I'm really glad that I was able to do that late January, early February tour to the Ukraine. That was the last one that we did, and I'm glad that I was on it, because I miss going too. I don't get to go anywhere near as much as I used to many, many years ago. Just for lots of different reasons. They just don't let me go anymore. They keep me in the box over here. But I used to go a lot, and I loved it. I loved all the traveling and all the different things that were associated with that. And that's going to come again, right? Nothing is forever. You know, we'll get past this pandemic. I keep saying that, but we will. We will get past this pandemic. You know, we're going to kick its butt, and then we're going to move forward. That's just how it is. We just haven't seen a pandemic like this in probably, 100 years or so. It's been a long time since we've seen one this severe. And but they happen. this isn't the first time in history that this has happened. It's not going to be the last time. The one thing that this probably will do for us is give us a wake-up call and make sure that we're a little better prepared for the next one that will come. But that's just how it is. All right. Let's see here. Let me get to another one of these. Hi, Gene. Dean here from Littleton, Colorado. Aside from the tours and seminars, what other services have been impacted by COVID-19? Are we still able to send and receive letters? Thanks for keeping up the great webcasts. Yeah, the correspondence is still working, so you can still do that. And we're actually still even delivering gifts in most of the places, although, it's been impacted a little bit, but we're still able to do gift deliveries and things like that. The one thing that it's really affected, unfortunately, I think, is the seminars. We're not able to do the seminars here in the United States, so I just got done talking about that, so we're doing them virtually. And to me, it's just not the same. I would love to be there in front of you. We still do our best to make the seminars fun and interesting and informative, and still give you all the discounts that you would have gotten if you were there in person. But they're not the same as being there in person. Just like I've told you for years and years and years that you could do all the phone calls and the Skypes and anything you want to do with a woman, but it's not the same as being there in person. It's not even close. There's something about humans that we need that interaction. We need that exchange of energy that you get when you're together with someone, and you feed off each other, and you just don't get that through a one-dimensional computer screen when you're talking to someone. We just did a Easter kind of deal with my family yesterday because we couldn't all get together, and some of us were actually out of state. So we kind of did this, how everyone's doing the Zoom thing and all that. So we did that. And it was just it was so underwhelming. It was not the same as if we would have all been together in the same room and cooking dinner and now having some drinks together and talking, and the interaction would have been real time, really fast, instead of trying to do it on the computer screen where there's lags and people are cutting people off, and it's just not the same. And so all I can tell you guys is when this thing is lifted, you got to get yourself over there and just do it. Put yourself in that position to be successful and experience it for yourself in person. There's no substitute for that. And I think this virus is showing us that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Duck. Sean wants to know, will you be doing a seminar in Ohio this year? Yeah, Sean, I think we will be, actually, for a few different reasons. But yeah, I think Ohio is going to be on the charts there for us this year. Dave from Rochester, I've already been to a seminar last year, but any chance of a Sunday video seminars? I work Saturdays. Would like to see your seminar. Just got to get a different take from the one I went to last April. Dave, that's a good point, because when we've been doing the virtual seminars, we've been doing them on Saturdays, and the one coming up that we're going to do, we're going to put together Denver and San Francisco on the 17th, which is a Saturday. But then we're going to have another one a couple weeks after that. And on that one, I think we will try it, maybe do it on a Sunday, so that we can mix it up a little bit for some of you that might not be able to make the Saturday. Yeah, I think we'll do that. It's a good idea. I will keep that in mind. Mark wants to know, John, if I put in an open reservation but can't make a tour to Cebu until next August, is that going to be a problem? Mark, the beautiful thing about an open reservation is that it's open and you can use it whenever you want to use it. Okay, so if you put it on there and you can't make a tour till next August, that's fine. It'll still be there for you. I've had guys that have called me and they said, John, I put that open reservation thing down about 10 years ago or so. Is that still there? Is that still valid? I'm like, yeah, sure, it's still there. And it's still valid. Not a problem, right? So, you can put that down, Mark, and it'll be fine. And if you can't go till next August, then that's fine. You'll go next August. And I've been saying this for years, the one thing that open reservation does, and it's not a big deal, it's $475, right? So we're not talking about a lot of money. But it gets you in the game. It gets you to start thinking about, hey, I've got my open reservation. I'm going to go. I'm going to go and do something like this, right? I'm going to stop being the virtual keyboard Romeo guy, you know, sitting there writing on this site or other sites or doing chats on other sites. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm actually going to have a plan now of going over. And yeah, I might write a few letters before I go to the women that I think I want to meet when I get there, but I'm going to do it in conjunction with the plan, right? And so putting that $475 deposit down is a mental thing. It is something that gives you that kick in the pants to say, I'm doing this. I'm going to be one of those guys in that damn video over there that actually went and did it, right? Instead of just thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it and then never doing it. Or being one of those guys who comes to me and tells me that you've been thinking about it for 20 years. Well, I've been thinking about this for the last 20 years. I've been looking at you guys for 20 years or 23 years or more, right? Because we've been around now for over 25. And I get those guys all the time. And they finally decide to do it. But by the time they decide to do it, they let 20 years pass, right? For no good reason. It's not like a lot of these guys, it's not like they got married during that time. They just put it off because work was busy, because this was happening, because this was happening, that was happening, right? And we do that. We're humans, and humans are great at that. We procrastinate. And the last person that we normally want to take care of is ourselves. And that's a shame. But you know what? If you don't, no one will. And by putting down the $475 deposit, again, that's nothing. It's $475. It really is inconsequential in the scheme of things. But what it does do, like I said, is it just solidifies in your mind that you're going to go over and actually be one of the 5%. What is that? What do I mean by that? You guys that have been listening to us for years know what I mean by that. Is that because I know that when guys come to this site and they register and they do whatever they're going to do, only about 5% of those guys will ever get off their butt, get on a plane, and go over and meet the women. And that's a travesty. That's a sin. Because these women actually want to meet you. They're out there. They're real. They want to meet you. I mean, we've been doing this for years and years and years. Obviously, they're there. Yet, so many guys will find so many different kinds of reasons and so many excuses not to do it. And all it is at the end of the day is a cool vacation. So, all right. Yeah, Mark. So put down do it today. Do it right now while we're talking. You're on the site. Just put it down and then you're done. You know, I'm not here to sell you anything. But what I am here to do is try to give you some kind of support, some kind of that kick in the pants that some of you might need to get off the fence and just go experience it and do it. And then call and talk to me right after you did it. I'll be here. Tell me what you thought. Because the vast, vast, vast majority of you are going to love it. Yes, there's some of you that can go on this and possibly manage to not have a good time. Because in 25 years, it's happened. There's been a few of you that have gone over and for whatever reason, you weren't happy because you had to buy a bottle of water because you couldn't drink the tap water, or you had to do this, or this happened, or you couldn't meet one woman that you wanted to meet and the other hundreds and hundreds, that wasn't good. Whatever reason. You can always find a reason not to be happy with anything. But the vast, vast majority of you that go are happy. Just look at all the tour reviews that we have out there. You can see hundreds and hundreds of them on the site, and they're out there in other places too. Because it's hard not to have a wonderful time with the support staff that you have while you're there. Those guys, those mainly women, for the most part, that you'll have working with you when you go over there, do just an amazing job. I'm trying to think of another word to describe it, but amazing comes to mind. Fantastic, just above the call of duty, those kind of things. They really work hard. And there's Joe. You'll see him in a second with Anna there, and he's a great tour leader. These people are working really hard for you, so when you go over, you'll have a great time. So Mark, just do it. You'll be happy. All right. Okay, let's see here. You mentioned that tours in Belarus would start soon. Is that still the plan? Well, I said we were looking at trying to move forward with something with Belarus soon. I wasn't so sure about the tours, and it's a different political makeup in Belarus right now, and so you have to be a little bit careful on how you do tours there. And yet we are considering something along those lines here soon. We want to do more and more in Belarus. It may not even be a group tour. We may just start with more individual, and you can go there individually now, and we can help you with that. And if anybody really wants to try and get to Belarus as soon as this thing lifts, call and talk to us, and we can help you do that. And we do have profiles from Belarus, and we will be adding more and more as we go on. But I do like Belarus. I think that it's really neat. It is, as Anna affectionately says, kind of the Jurassic Park of Eastern Europe, because it hasn't changed as much as the rest of Eastern Europe has because of the politics and the political regime that's there right now. But on the other hand, it is kind of like going back in time a little bit, and it's really cool. So I like Belarus a lot. There's a lot of good things I have to say about it. Okay. I think we'll go ahead and look at another clip here, because I know I got a lot more questions to answer, and I don't want to run out of time, because our staff had put in a lot of work with the different clips that we have. And we have a clip, I think, from the Philippines that I want to play now about how COVID-19 has affected life there. So let's go ahead and look at that clip real quick, and then we'll get back and finish up with a bunch of your questions here that we have.
Hello everyone, my name is Don Marco. I am the manager of AFA Cebu office. Right now, I'm currently working at home, just like the rest of my staff. To prevent further infection of COVID-19, our local government has mandated a community quarantine that started in mid-April last month. Because of this, most businesses, including ours, our office, is temporarily closed until further notice.
Today is a holiday, so usually these gasoline stations are open on a holiday, but probably because of the quarantine they're closed. The mall, and it is closed. The local government mandated that all malls should be closed except for the supermarkets.
So it is strictly advised that you only go out for food, medicine, or if you have an emergency.
The grocery stores limits like 3 cans per person. These are sacks of rice. Biggest public market here in Cebu City. As you can see, still lots of people packed. Most goods here in the public market has lower price than in grocery stores. That's why most people go here. There are still food chains that are open, but the government did not allow any dine-in customers. All are prohibited to dine in these restaurants. Only takeout is available for food chains. No dine-in is allowed.
There's no definite time of when the quarantine will be lifted. Just last week, the government again implemented a enhanced community quarantine, which means nobody is allowed to go out on the main streets without a quarantine pass. So we got here a sample of quarantine pass. Here it is.
Usually these streets are open, but because of the enhanced quarantine, they close up some streets to control the flow of people. Right now I'm here in the streets, and I'm gonna go past some checkpoints that the city government has. Ano nga po? Thank you.
Wow. That was really interesting. Watching that video, in one sense, you thought that, yeah, they're taking it really seriously, and they are, but then the social distance seemed to be not so much in some of the crowds that you saw there. Then they have the checkpoints, and they enhanced it a little bit more. and they're taking actual temperatures of people as they're driving by those checkpoints. The Philippines can be very serious when they want to be about these kind of things, and so they are, looks like now. So, hopefully that's going to help this thing pass this much faster. So I want to thank all those offices for putting together those little clips for us so that we can get a little better sense around the world of what's going on. We'll have a few more of those for you. I know Anna had done one too. We'll get that up. If not, well, it'll be on the site here soon, but we'll get it up next week as well on the show. We'll probably have a few more on there as well. So, yeah, guys, it's pretty amazing. So let's get back to some of your questions here, because I always run out of time, and I'm probably going to run out of time this time because there's a ton of questions. Mark also wanted to know if he met someone special in Cebu, is it possible to go on another tour as a guest to share my experience? And, that happens actually a lot when we have a tour going on and we have clients that are there from previous tours that are spending time with women that they met or their fiancés or even wives, and they'll come to a social event and they'll speak a little bit about their experience, or they'll come to the hotel in the hospitality room and talk to the other guys and give them encouragement and let them know, what they did and how it worked for them. Guys, I tell you, I've been saying this for years, that this is a really cooperative thing, that you'll make really good friends with some of the other men that are on the tour that you're on. And I mean, it's funny, I just had a call recently from a gentleman who was on our tour 17 years ago. And he met one other gentleman that was on that same tour. And fortunately they met this other gentleman and were married. But after about 16 years, they got a divorce. These things happen. They were married for 16 years, and obviously they grew apart after that. But he wanted to come again. He called his friend, and we're wondering if we were still in business, and they want to go again on the tour. And so their relationship, after 17 years of meeting on that tour 17 years prior, is still together. They're still friends, right? And this happens more than you would think when you go on one of these tours, because we're taking a group of individuals, a group of men, and we're taking them to a foreign country, and we're putting them out there. And at first, they kind of bond together, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And they watch out for each other. They have each other's backs. They really do. It's not a competitive thing at all. There's so many women that you're being introduced to, and everyone has such diverse tastes that it's really a cooperative thing, and the men are helping each other throughout this process and and some of this gets really deep. Some of these men are really trying to help the other men and talk about the past and talk about some of the traps that they've been falling into, and trying to help them through that, just like our staff does. And so it's almost like you're getting these free little mini therapy sessions and support sessions all included in this group tour that you're on, right? And I know that we don't advertise it that way, and we don't talk about that so much, but that's a big part of it too, and it really is kind of cool. And look, if you're not, that social and you don't really want to interact that much with the other men, you don't have to, and some men choose not to, and they're going off and they're doing their thing and they're meeting the different women, and they're not, hanging out as much with the other guys, and that's fine too. That's what's really cool about these group tours, is that they're whatever you want them to be. We give you all the support that you need, and you can take as much of it as you want or as little as you want. And it's really up to you on how much support you want. Some guys we see all the time, they're constantly in the hospitality room, constantly wanting us to set them up with more and more dates and help them with this, help them with that, whatever that or this is. And the staff does that because that's what they're there for, and they will help them throughout that whole entire tour. And there's some guys that we're worried about because we never see. They come and they've got a few women that they're spending time with, and they're out with them constantly, and we never see them hardly. And if that's the case, and I'm the tour leader, and as my other tour leaders, we will check that and find out what's going on. We'll try to call you and contact you, like, are you okay? Haven't seen you for a day or two. Just want to make sure you're all right. Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing this, we're doing that. And that's great, right? And that's what this is about. It's not like one of those, when we, you use that word group tour, and a lot of guys all of a sudden start thinking of, okay, it's the bus, and everybody's got to get on the bus at the same time, get off the bus at the same time, go look at the same church together, do this, do that. No. If that's the kind of tour that you're looking for, do not take this tour, because it is not like that in any way. This tour is designed to put you in front of as many beautiful, attractive, eligible, sincere, charming women as we can, and give them the opportunity to meet as many of you as we can, right? And then what happens from there is entirely up to you. And mainly you're going out on these individual dates, and you're seeing the sights and experiencing the different restaurants and this and that with these wonderful women, not with a bunch of people on a bus every day doing the same thing. And that's what makes these tours the most unique tours in the world and the most interesting in the world, I truly believe. I yet to see. I mean, there's some pretty cool adventure tours out there where you can fly MiGs and do all that kind of stuff. But from a social perspective, I don't think there's any more of a unique tour than what we do out there in the world today. And we've been doing it for 25 years. All right, get off my soapbox. Let's see here. Let's see, Colombia has never looked so appealing. I wish it was closer to the UK. Yes. You do got to get on that plane, but it's not that far. Come on, get on the plane. You'll be there in no time. Just take a nap. How many offices does AFA have around the world? We have, give or take, about 13 offices, just off the top of my head, around the world, of our own offices. And we have many different affiliate offices that we work with, but somewhere in that neighborhood. Maria seems pleasant, Derek says. Maria is really pleasant. She has actually, I believe, a degree in hospitality, and she makes you feel at home, and does a great job. And she's smart as a whip. So if there's ever any kind of an issue or problem, she takes care of it. Believe me, she gets it done. You know, as do our other office managers too, though. Whether you're going to Colombia with Maria and all of her staff in Medellin and Barranquilla and in Cartagena, they take care of you very, very well. But you go to the Ukraine and you have Victoria, you have Lena, you have Anna, those guys and all the staff there, they do an amazing job as well. Same with China, with Careful and all of her staff. I mean, I can go on and on, right? I don't have the time to listen to all the offices and all the staff, but they all do a great job. But you're seeing Maria here, and yeah, she is very pleasant and does a great job. She really does. All right. Donald's talking about how they're getting ready to reopen. They have a task force with about 100 members. They're trying to target a May 1st opening. Yeah, you know, the only thing we got to keep in mind, though, Donald, is that we can open the United States all we want, but in our realm, what's important to us is what other countries are going to do too. Just because we decide to open doesn't mean that we can just all of a sudden get on a plane and fly over to China and that they're going to just allow us to come in with no problem and no self-quarantine or anything like that. And that's what we have to be prepared for and understand how that's going to work. The world has changed. And so we have to be able to deal with that. I know right now, if you're an American and you can somehow fly to China and get there, you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. And if you don't, there are consequences, right? And so if that is the case, well then, you know, our 2-week or our 7-day tour, 10-day tour, whatever you choose, turns into a 3-week tour because 2 weeks of that is spent alone quarantine. That's no fun, and that's not going to work, obviously. So, you know, until we really figure out how the rest of the world is going to deal with this too, then we're not sure how it's going to affect the tours and the possibility of going over and doing the introductions. Okay. What city was Latin America manager Maria filming her video from? Eric wants to know, and that was in Cartagena, Eric. She was in Cartagena when she was filming that one. Okay. And hopefully the number of cases will lower in the summer months, which will lead to less restrictions of the worldwide quarantine. Yeah, I'm hoping that too. We're not sure how seasonal this virus is, I guess, still. But hopefully it is seasonal. I mean, we live here in Arizona, and if it can still survive here in July, where many people can't because it's so hot, then we've got big problems. So I'm hoping that, you know, come, especially here in Arizona, come those warm summer months that are just around the corner, I mean, we're going to be in the 80s and close to 90s here this week. And then the hundreds will be just soon following that. And hopefully that wipes it out here. for the most part, but I don't know. No one knows. This is a new one, and we'll have to see how resilient it really is to temperature. Okay, let's keep going here. You guys are great with all your questions. I really appreciate that. And Kirk and his team are doing an amazing job of the tech part of this, keeping this webcast going. So I really appreciate all that too. It's cool. We've had to adapt quite a bit. As some of you guys have called in for customer service, you've noticed the changes, right? And even that voicemail thing that we have now, when you call in, not voicemail, but the greeting that you get, we have to change that too. We've had to go to a totally different phone system. We've had to do all kinds of different things to accommodate all our offices worldwide and try to still provide you with the same level of customer service that you've grown to accustomed to. And it's been a challenge, but the tech team has done a pretty good job of getting us to where there's no one in this office basically anymore, yet we're still able to do all the things that we need to do to keep everything running and take care of all the customer service involved with the other things that are still going on other than the tours right now. But that doesn't mean that we're still not working on the tours. We're still planning for them, and even the ones in June and July. And that still takes work now for us to do that. And if they go, great. If they don't, then we just have to plan again and keep moving things forward. So it's still a lot of work. Blue says that I was able to go to Zaporozhye, Ukraine in January and loved it. Yeah, Zaporozhye is really cool. Now I want to go to Kyiv when it's warm. And that was what made it great, was going with someone who lived there. Yeah, Blue. Someone who lived there. That's what I've been saying. You're right, because you see it through their eyes. It's so much better than just being a tourist. Yeah, of course we're tourists still. Even when you go over and doing something like this, you're still technically a tourist, but you're not as much of a tourist, right? I mean, you're really connecting with the local population and see. It's kind of like traveling with my sister. I know my sister really doesn't watch these things, but she's a few years older than me, and when I would travel her when I was younger, my sister, if any of you know her, she's a little different, and she has to do everything very organically. And I mean, I went to like Jamaica with her. We couldn't stay at the big hotels. We had to go find this family to stay with, and they had no indoor plumbing really. And to take a shower, you had to pull a string, and this water came over your head. And we could have stayed at a really nice hotel, but no. If I travel with my sister, we had to go stay at this very, a local experience is what she wanted. And that's, okay. We do stay at nice hotels, don't get me wrong. When you go on one of our tours, we still stay at nice hotels. But when you go out, you're going out and you're seeing all the local stuff through their eyes. So like what Blue said, going to Zaporozhye, and he was able to see that with someone who lived there. That's really cool. When you go to Kyiv, Blue, you're going to be able to do the same thing. It'll be great. Chuck wants to know, are the ladies in Ukraine enthusiastic about moving to and living in the U.S. in the future? I read the ladies' profiles, but they don't mention any interest in the U.S. Why is that? Well, first of all, Chuck, the main reason for that is it's not because they're just, when they do this, yeah, they understand that this is a foreign dating site. But it's not like they're fixated on the U.S. and it has to be the U.S. and that they just want to come to the U.S. and they're only joining because of the U.S. They're joining because they want to find the right man. They want to find the right individual. And then they'll worry about where he lives and how all that works, right? And so it's not just about the U.S. That's why you're not going to see, well, yeah, I'd love to come to the U.S. and, oh, by the way, maybe I'll meet a man. No, it's, oh, I want to meet the man. The man is in my life, who I'm going to have children with, who possibly, if that's what she's looking for still, who I'm going to build a family with. That's what's important. That's what's most important. And then, where you live and all that will come into play. And do you live in a big city? Do you live in a small city? All those different things are going to come into play. And yes, they are looking for that right person. And when they find that right person, they understand that they're the ones that are probably going to have to relocate. Now I've seen where men have moved to the Ukraine, actually, and lived there. I've seen where men have moved to Colombia and lived there, to Costa Rica and lived there, right? Philippines and lived there. I see that. But that's more of the exception than the rule. The rule usually is that the woman will then move to where the man is, because he's normally going to be the one that's earning the majority of the money, at least for now, and that's kind of how it normally works. And so the women understand that, and they are willing to do that if they meet the right man. They're not just willing to leave their family, their friends, and everything behind to come to the United States just with someone that they kind of like or they can stomach or something like that. They're not going to do that. It's a very rare person that will do that, right? And for the man to be involved in that and not see that that person is coming just because she somehow wants to come to the United States, well, that's a problem for the man as well, because you need to be having your eyes wide open, right, and understanding what's going on. So, all right. Let's see. McKissick says, I just signed up for the Rosetta Stone Spanish. Yes, good job. You know, if you can learn, whatever it is, and guys, if you're going to Ukraine, I would still recommend learning Russian, because everyone will understand Russian in the Ukraine, and Russian is going to be a little more global language for you, so you'll get more use out of it. But Ukrainian and Russian are very similar anyway. But if you can do that, you really do have a little bit of a head start. You don't have to be, you know, totally well versed in it or fluent in it. But if you can get some words down, some phrases down, it goes a long ways. It really does. And the women love it. It's a great icebreaker. You walk into a social in the Ukraine and you sit down in front of that table of, you know, 6 or 7 women, and you say, Privet, как dela? They're just going to start laughing, because that's usually a very informal greeting. And, you know, there's protocol, there's culture, there's just the way that the people present themselves to each other. And when you're a stranger, usually it's going to be more of a formal, like Dobry вечер or something like that, a formal greeting. But when you say Privet, как dela, it's like something that friends would say to each other, and the women love it. They'll just start smiling and laughing, and they'll melt away. You'll melt them with that, and they'll break the ice. So if you're learning a little bit of Spanish, they're going to love that too. With the Rosetta Stone, that's a good one. That'll help you. ¿Dónde está el baño? That's the most important thing to know, right? Where is that bathroom? All right. I hear the Ukraine's countrywide quarantine is till the 15th of May, but they expect it to be extended once again. Yeah, see, that's the problem, is we just don't know. Sure, it's still the 15th of May. That's why we canceled our May tour. But, you know, are they going to extend it until the 15th of June? You know, what's going to happen? And we just don't know for sure. I don't think, you know, guys, and look, what do I know? You know, I'm just a matchmaker. You know, I try to find love wherever I can. So for what it's worth, my opinion would be that I don't think that this thing's going to end with just a turn of a switch like it started. It started very abruptly, right? It was a little bit of confusion, and then pretty much all these countries followed suit, and boom, 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 lockdown. I just don't think that one day in the next 30 days or 15 days or 2 months, it's just going to, okay, it's all done. Everybody just go out like they were before. I don't think life is going to go back to that kind of normalcy very, very quickly and all at once. I think it's going to be, and there, like you said, there's 100 people, task force that's trying to figure out how it's going to be. But I think it's going to be involving a lot more testing, maybe. Not just for people who have the virus, but people who maybe had it, didn't even know it, who have antibodies. And then, you know, maybe some kind of if you've had that and we find it's going to be harder to get again, then there's some kind of classification you have or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I'm fairly sure it's not going to be a light on, light off type thing. I think it's going to be some kind of a drawn out process before we get back to whatever we knew as normal, and whenever that happens. For what that's worth, but I could be totally wrong too. They could say tomorrow, hey, it's over, and we're all just back to where we were. That would be nice, but I just don't see that happening that way. Charles says, I made the deposit a few years ago. Lockdown ruined my plans to go to Ukraine this year. Yeah, sucks, I know, Charles. But hopefully later in the year, maybe you'll still be able to go. I don't know. We just have to see how it works out. But your deposit's there. You made it a few years ago. This was the year you were going to try and go, and then this happened. So I can't blame that on you, right? And there's a lot of external things that happen to us that make it to where maybe it's you lost your job type thing. Maybe something happened with your family. There's things that happen in our life that prevent us from doing something like this, and I get it. I absolutely get it, right? And so I have, you know, there's no blame at all if you can't go this year because of what happened with COVID-19. And that is real, and that happens. I preach against the guys that just don't do it for no good reason, just because they're afraid, just because they're worried about what their friends and family might think, just because whatever reason they come up with, right? Usually it's just fear. That's what bothers me more than anything. But if your finances aren't right now to do something like this, and again, it doesn't take a lot of money to do this. It really doesn't in the grand scheme of things. But if this just isn't the best time financially for you right now, then I get it. So all these things you just have to look at yourself. So Charles, that deposit's there for you. And if it's not this year, then it'll be next year. But it'll be there for you and you can use it. All right? And Derek says, I'll bet the flight deals are going to be better when it opens up. And you know what, Derek? You're absolutely right. And there's a lot of actually positive things. And we could sit here and make a list. But there are positive things that are happening from this. One of the things positive is the air quality has gotten a lot better. You can breathe in LA again, right? They've had like the best air quality they've had in like 50 years because of this. And it cleared up quick. And we're having less accidents because we're driving less. And we're getting to know our kids better because we're spending more time with them, helping them. There's a lot of positive things that are actually coming out of this and will change us in some way. It's pretty interesting, but it's going to happen. There's these unintended consequences of COVID-19 that are going to happen. Are we going to see a huge baby boom type thing 9 months from now? Probably. That's a good thing, maybe. So there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to happen as a result of this, and it's kind of cool. All right. Let's see here. Since Danny wants to know, since no tour was scheduled this year for the Dnipro region, will it be on next year's schedule? Yeah, Danny, I think it will be. It's not going to be this year, and we're not going to be able to revisit it this year. But, I don't think Joe, who is one of the tour leaders, who that is his favorite destination, will let me live it down if I don't put it on again next year. He was probably one of the most disappointed guys out there when I told him that we weren't doing that tour this year. He's like, oh, no. I think he shed a tear. Joe, I don't know if you're watching this, Joe, but I think there was a tear that he shed when I told him we weren't going to Dnipro and Zap this year. Yeah, it was sad. But, yeah, we'll do it again next year. Okay. Is Helen still the manager of the Davao office? Helen is still in charge of all of that. Yes, she's still out there. So if you know Helen, she's still doing wonderful things. She's moving around a lot more, but yeah, she's still in charge. How many dates will I go on in an individual tour compared to a group tour? That's a good question. So if you take, and we're running out of time, guys, I'm not going to get to all of your questions today. You guys have a lot of questions here. I'm trying to get them all, but because we showed some of those clips, I lost some of the time here. But I'm trying to get to as many of you as I can here. So let me answer this one, though, because I think it's a really good question. How many dates will I go on in an individual tour compared to a group tour? Okay, so when you go on an individual tour, what we try to do is when you talk about individual tour, we're talking about a club, and either an Asian club, Latin club, or Euro club. And basically that's when you can pick the time you want to go, you pick the destination you want to go to, you give us a list of, say, 30 or so women that you'd like to try to meet while you were there. And then we'll do our best to arrange up to 3 introductions a day, every day for you, right? So most men who go on one of those individual tours, if they do a 7-day, you can pick a 7, 10, or 14-day version. Let's just talk about a 7-day version of that. If you go on a 7-day individual tour, right? If you do the math, I said, we try to do up to 3 introductions a day. So if you're doing up to 3 a day and you got 7 days, you're going to do about 21 introductions, right? But I will tell you, most men will not do 21 unique introductions during that time period not because of us, but because of them. They're just saying, okay, you know what, it's too much. I want to just concentrate on these few women that I've met so far and then go on 2nd, 3rd, 4th dates with those women and spend more time. Most guys, when they do a club tour like that, will do about I think average is going to be somewhere between 12 and 14 unique introductions during that 7-day period, right? Now, contrast that with a group tour. And with the group tour, you have 2 different ways you're meeting the women. You have these socials that we've been seeing all night, right? Where we have all these wonderful women, and you got the opportunity to meet all these different women. The one that I just did in Kiev, and between those 2 socials only in Kiev and Ukraine, we had well over 700 women attending. So, you know, you have that opportunity to meet all these different women, and you're not going to meet 700 women and have, you know, in-depth conversations with every one of them, but you're going to go from table to table with your matchmaker who's at your side that whole night, and you're going to try and focus on the women who you think you might be most interested in, you know, and you're starting from a physical perspective. You know, who are you physically attracted to? Mainly is what you have to go by at the socials to start with, but then you're talking to the women and you're getting a better sense of who they are, what's going on with their lives and that kind of thing. But, you know, you do have to be physically attracted to someone as well. And I mean, we can talk all about how everything else is important, and it is probably more so than the physical attraction. But the physical attraction, at least at the beginning, is important. And so, you know, that's how that works. But then when you're out of the socials, you're also doing the one-on-one introductions just like you would with an individual tour through the hospitality room that you see right here. Boy, Kirk's on it tonight. I'm talking and he's ahead of me. He knows what I'm going to say before I even say it, and the video is evidence of that. But anyways, so yeah, you have the hospitality room here. So during your group tour, you're doing kind of what you would be doing on the individual tour by doing the one-on-one introductions. And we try to do, you know, at least up to 3 a day. Some guys are doing 3, 4, or 5 a day. And even on an individual tour, if it works out to where you can do 4 introductions a day, they'll still do it for you. We say we try to do up to 3 a day, but you know, it just depends. Some days you might have 4 or 5. Some days you might only have 1. It just really depends on your schedule, the women's schedule. Remember, these are not just women waiting in a box for us to come over and they magically materialize and then we go out and date them. They have lives as well. They have responsibilities as well. They have family maybe that they're taking care of. They have all kinds of different things going on. So that we come over, yes, they try their best to make time for us, but it's up to them whether they can make time for us or not. All right. So hopefully that answers your question pretty much how that works. You're going to meet a lot more women, I think, on a group tour just because of the socials and that opportunity you have at those socials. And what's cool about that too is that a lot of times men will end up marrying women that they never knew they wanted to meet until they met them. Think about that. They'll marry women that they never knew they wanted to meet until they met them at the social. That's how I met my wife. I never knew I wanted to meet Tanya until I met her at the social. And then a year and a half later, we got married once we got to know each other much better. And she still married me. Imagine that. I mean, I'm still in shock 23 years later that she married me, but she did, and lucky for me. But she didn't know about me, and I didn't know about her until we met at the social. We didn't write beforehand. We didn't do any of that. And you don't have to do any of that, guys. I've been telling you that for all these years. You don't have to write any letters. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Matter of fact, I don't think it's a good idea to write before you go. And if you are going to write before you go, just write a little bit before you go. Write a few women before you go that you think you want to meet when you get there. That's all you got to do. And so that's why I really like the group tours as opposed to the individual tour. Because on the individual tour, you're really only meeting women you think you want to meet, because you're giving us the list of women, and we're working off that list of women, and we're trying to arrange up to 3 introductions a day based on that list of women you gave us. Now, the staff there, in their matchmaking capacity, will try and give you advice on which women they think you might want to meet as well while you're there on that individual tour, but they can only do so much, right? When you're at that social, boom, I mean, you're just meeting all these different women, and that gives you that huge advantage and that huge opportunity that you don't get with the individual tour, with anyone's individual tour, even ours. You just don't get it. There's no substitute, I don't think, for the socials, for that opportunity, that numbers game that you get with the socials. There's just nothing that compares to it. So, all right. Oh, talk. Let's see here. Is the name change automatic with the filing of the marriage certificate? Because it wants to know, or must she file a separate name change? Now, you don't have to do a separate legal name change. You do the marriage certificate. I do believe that that's legal. I don't remember, Tanya. This is a good question. I haven't really thought about that. But I don't think you have to file a separate name change. I think that's all included. There might be another document that she signs with that, but I think it's fairly all included in the paperwork you're doing when you get married. with the name change. I do believe. Now, there might be a special document that you're signing. I don't remember. It was 20 some years ago. And that's a question no one's ever really asked me before in all these years. So that's original. I like that. You could email afa@lumby.com and ask Liz that question. She's really good with that kind of stuff. And I'm sure she can give you a for sure answer. But yeah. And he also wants to know, do the women of Colombia and or Ukraine typically have any aversion to taking their husband's last name? I know that certain countries like Vietnam or Korea, the women keep their birth names. I don't think so. I know in Eastern Europe, it's not an issue. I know my wife took my name, and I know that many of her friends who have met and married through us have took their husband's name. So I don't think that's an issue in Eastern Europe, and I don't think it's an issue in Colombia. So no, to my knowledge, I don't think any of the places we go, it just hasn't really come up as being an issue. Again, I could be mistaken on that with some women may have, as they do here in the United States, some women would either have a hyphenated name or something like that. But as far as a cultural thing, I don't think with any of the countries we go to, you're going to find that as to be an issue. Okay. Guys, there's quite a few more, but I'm just not going to be able to get to all of them. We're already over time here. If I didn't answer any of your questions, or if you need a little bit more, just please feel free to email me. I'm one of the easiest guys in the world to get a hold of. John@lumby.com. Send me an email, and I'll try to answer your questions and talk to you about anything that you have, or any concerns, or anything that you have. Just email me, and I'll do my best to help you. All right? I really appreciate you guys joining us today, asking all the questions you did. Wednesday night, guys, come back Wednesday night, and Rana, with her smiling, bubbly self, and energy where I don't know, but she could probably, if she could harness that energy, she could probably supply a small city with that energy that she has, because she just got a ton of energy. She's always smiling, always happy, great personality, great individual. She will be here Wednesday, and she will be answering questions that you have and talking about the Philippines. So it's mainly about the Philippines, but she will be able to help you. And she's helped a lot of you guys. I mean, she spends a lot of time talking to a lot of you guys individually about how it all works. And Richard, if you're out there, I don't know if you're there tonight, but I mean, she went over to the Philippines with Richard, and he's now engaged, doing great. I mean, she does amazing stuff, and she's a great matchmaker and a great person. So she'll be on Wednesday night. All right. All right, guys. Until then, I look forward to seeing you. Be safe. And I wish I had more information about this whole COVID-19 thing as it relates to our tours and whatnot, but we're just going to play it by ear and see how it goes. But we will be doing that seminar on Saturday. And even if you don't live in Denver or in San Francisco, if you'd like to try and join, you just need to RSVP on site. You'll see where you can do that. And then you'll get the information on how to join. They will email that to you privately. It'll be a special link that we don't share with anyone else, other than the people that RSVP'd, obviously, for the seminars. And that's how that works. All right? Until next time, guys, thank you so much. Be safe.
It's very good for women Peruvian.